Welcome to Light News Radio, health and self-empowerment for the whole human being. Featuring your host, Dr. J, proprietor of Light News, author, spiritual counselor, international lecturer, and co-host Deirdre Layton, minister, energy facilitator, and spiritual counselor. Today, they support individuals to master their own uniqueness and divine karmic path. Light News Radio features strategies on how to overcome the obstacles of today's belief systems to become awakened and self-empowered. And now, here are your hosts, Dr. J and Deirdre Layton.
Welcome, everyone, to Light News Radio, Realms of Self-Empowerment. I am Dr. J, your host, and my co-host is Deirdre Layton, collectively co-creating a cosmic collaboration of a cornucopia of concentrated light energy, as well as concretizing the cream-colored cozy cavern of her lovely abode. We are your hosts, and she'll explain that, here to serve up a hot dish of ever-evolving spiritual evolution and awakening. We are the chefs who will cook up tantalizing meals of spiritual delicacies, platters of nutritious guest interviews, and palate-pleasing philosophy of spiritual techniques and tools to help you empower your life. Come aboard and travel the light waves with us for the next hour. We have a great show for you today. Hello, Deirdre. How you doing?
You know what? I'm doing great, and it's so nice to hear your voice and hear no static and everything. This is a new beginning and new shows here for February. And listeners, we apologize for any shows that you've heard for January that were a little disrupted or foggy, and anyhow,
screwed up.
Just, yeah, what can you say? I'm going to use the F-bomb. They were fucked up, but
yeah,
it's all good.
And that's
now.
A spiritual kind of fucked up too. So.
That's right. Oh, so it is so nice to be back on air, and it is so nice to, have our guests that we bring on and be able to discuss what is important here in developing self-empowerment and spiritual awareness and just connecting with people. And yes, you're right. I am in a new abode of color as we...
The cream-colored cozy cavern of your lovely abode. You just painted it cream color.
Yeah, well, I'm in the process. We're repainting the basement, and it's been 7 years since it was last painted. It was a lovely 2 shades of green, and now it's 1 shade of cream. And it's a big change for me because I love color. I mean, if I had my way, the house would be purple.
Please move the odoriferous olfactory emanations coming from the open can of paint right next to your monitor as we go through this hour.
I know. Yeah, whole house smells of paint. And so if I get the giggles, you know why. It's just a high of life.
Well, I have to tell you, everybody, Deirdre and I are moving on into completing our second year in June 14th of 2014. We started this lovely twice-a-month program. And I got to tell you, for you guys that haven't listened to the Light News Radio, on just Deirdre's side of the microphone, you're missing a lot because Deirdre is what I describe as a happy soul. A happy soul. And that's just someone who incarnates, who is just happy to be here, happy to be on this planet. And it's very hard, you guys, to bring Deirdre down, which, by the way, Deirdre, so let's kind of coordinate. We're back with Nisha.
I know. That's the happy dance. I'm doing some happy dancing. Yeah.
We've got the world triangulated. So everybody, Nisha is in Serbia. He's coming minus the time difference. He is there at nighttime now in Serbia. Deirdre is in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and I am sitting in, I guess you could call it my office. I'm now the president of the Universal Church of the Master International headquarters, coming to you from San Jose, California. So I'm kind of in my new thing here and coming to San Jose more often in this expanded role, although I hope I don't keep expanding, but I hope the role does. But we're triangulating the planet, and that's the age we live in where space is nothing anymore, and we're able to make these amazing, amazing connections. And I got to tell you, going back to our dear co-host, Deirdre, she is the one who is like this, the string of the purse that pulls all of the eyelets together. She gets all of these impossible tasks, and she pulls everything together, and it looks like it was effortless. But I want you guys to there's a tremendous amount of work that goes into making it look effortless. And Deirdre, I got to tell you, you're one of those people. You're a can-do person.
I'm learning to when I need help to, approach the people I know that can help with the work. And that's what's important, because
shout out to Erin too.
Oh, that's right. Erin Teichrob. She's unbelievable. And I know that she's going through some stuff right now, and it's all perfect, whole, and complete. And she's got us on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and Instagram, and she and of course Andy from Bold Radio Station helped get our new website up. And it's listeners, if you haven't gone and taken a look at that, it's www.lightnews.org, and take a look at our new site, because oh my goodness, it's totally changed and revamped, and it's constantly growing. And what I really like about the calendar section of the new website is that you can actually adjust the calendar to suit your needs. So if you're looking at Dr. J's calendar and want to see what's going on only in San Diego, you can filter out everything else. Or if you want to see what's only going on in Canada, you can filter out, or the US. If you want to just look for flower readings, you can. It's amazing, and I'm so thrilled that it's up and running. And of course, we've got a link there, and all you need to do is click on that link, and you can send us any questions, and we'll be certain to get back to you as soon as we can and answer them. But speaking of questions, when we sent the newsletter out this month, we didn't have a question for Dr. J.
Right, Dr. J's Corner.
That's right. So listeners, please do send him the hardest, toughest question you could possibly think of, and really knock the socks off this guy.
Well, try to avoid questions like, Dr. J, why is there air? Make your questions somewhat earthbound so that there's a possibility of answering them. But one of the things about Universal Church of the Master is that relevance and identity is huge these days, because younger people whose parents had regularly gone to church, had a stead religion, young people are asking some serious questions as to what is the truth of the spiritual nature of the human being. And if we can't have that identity and relevance, then, we're not going to be helping younger people who are asking the hard questions. So Deirdre and I both, we just love it when people come at us on the radio program and say, I got this burning question nobody seems to be able to answer. What do you think? Well, and if we can't take a run at it, then, but that's what we're about, is get into those tough spiritual questions.
And that's what it's about, right? I mean, people don't understand that self-realization and self-empowerment and spirituality are just tools and ways to help improve yourself. You don't have to go sit in a pew to do that on a regular basis. But what you do need to do is you need to look at that divine source within yourself and understand who you truly are as a spiritual being. And those are the questions that I love you to get.
Part of the path is figuring out the difference between getting into your spiritual self and your egoic self. And a lot of people wouldn't even know where to begin with what that really means. And that's one of the things Deirdre and I both have been studying for years, is both philosophically but also esoterically. We've been working on awakening ourselves spiritually so that we can answer these questions. And one board member asked me a while ago, says, when does it end? And I said, well, the spiritual work never really ends, because there's really no levels. Yogananda said, one cannot be any closer to God than you are right now, but our work is to reveal that closeness, not whether we're there. And so that's where our work is at Light News Radio, is to help you awaken and self-empower and self-realize by understanding that you really are a luminous being of light who has a physical presence, and both are true.
That's it, in a nutshell. That just sums it all up. And that was good.
Yeah, I should probably record that.
Yeah, I think so.
Write that down.
Write that down. So, you've just got back from, oh my gosh, you've been traveling all over the place. And I know that you had a week in Medicine Hat in Alberta. Can you tell me? Yeah, tell me what you were doing there. Or tell the listeners what you were doing there.
It really was phenomenal. We had a couple of past life karma reincarnation workshops, a flower reading workshop, and then we had an all-day hands-on chakra shop. Because a lot of people only have a vague understanding of the chakras. They think, well, it's this color, it's this musical note, it's related to this part of the body. But chakras are really like 7 minds. So we had this workshop in one day, where, we do some meditation and show some slides, but we also had experiential exercises so each person could actually get a sense of what that feels like to intuitively examine and feel what a chakra, or the human aura, also called the biofield, was. So it was about 5 days, Deirdre, in Medicine Hat, and it turned out really well. Lots of people very hungry for information. And they were hungry enough to want to do it again. So we're going to plan a repeat visit here sometime in the future. Yeah.
Well, and listeners, if anyone out there is planning on an event and you'd love Richard to come and speak, he is open. Just send me an email at info@lightnews.org or give me a shout at 877-242-5721. And we can get you into a booking schedule, or looking at, what he can offer or what you're looking for. And maybe he can help you find someone if it's not what he can offer. So we're open to whatever you need and whatever you're looking for. So please do give us a call or send us an email. And Richard's gone. So
no, I'm here. I was just thinking you were saying, please contact us and send us an email. And then there was this silence like, oh, I see. This is a real test. They're supposed to intuit what the website is.
I said
they're supposed to intuit what is the email.
No, I said that first. I gave the phone number, and yeah, you were spacing. That's all right.
But that was a few minutes ago. This is now. Live in the now. Live in the now.
Info@lightnews.org is the best email to reach either Richard or myself. Yeah. And I do respond within 2 days, or try to respond within 2 business days to all emails. There you go. It's out there. It's out there now. So Excellent. We've got lots of lectures, workshops, and a fabulous journey coming up. In September, we are sending a group of people with Dr. Jelisich and Lisa Steeles, and it'll be in the Sacred Heart Meditation 2016 in Sedona, Arizona. And I'm just amazed at this because, I reserved enough cabins for 23 people, and I think I've got enough room left for 4 people. Like, oh my goodness.
Well, what's interesting is we did that. We did that last year in September, the meditation of the Sacred Heart in Sedona in September. And most of those people said, we're coming back. So Deirdre works like a slave making threefold little brochures and the sign-in sheets and the advertisements. And while she's doing this, Deirdre hasn't published it yet. She hasn't put it out on the net because she's still working on it. So Deirdre gets all these phone calls. Hey, I'm going. I'm sorry, what? No, here's my deposit. I'm sorry, what? So by this time now, Deirdre officially put out the information, the paperwork and the advertisements and the website last week. Okay, we're looking at earliest part of February. And then we had this deal where you could get a lot of money off if you signed up by March 31st. Well, guess what? Of the 20 or so slots that are open, as of today, February 10th, about 16 are reserved with deposits. Is that about right, Dee?
That's right. It's right. It's amazing. It's going to be a fabulous trip. It's just going to be an amazing trip between, going on ceremony on sacred sites, a pink Jeep tour into an ancient Hopi site, as well as night meditations, Kundalini yoga. Oh my goodness, and time for shopping, of course. Got to have that time for shopping.
Yeah, you got to have that.
But it's going to be a really great trip, and I'm really looking forward to it. As I am looking forward to bringing on our guest today.
Yeah.
We have a graduate of your program as our guest today, and she is an energy worker. She's a medical acupuncturist. She is a physiotherapist, and we know that she is, because she revealed to us earlier, going to be taking a course on hypnotherapy. So Angela Kim is our guest today, and I've known her for, oh my goodness, at least 4 years, I think. And
at least, yeah.
And her skill set is just amazing. And so we'll be asking her on what she believes between Eastern and Western methods and philosophies, and how she works with her patients and clients to help them grow spiritually. So, Angela, are you there?
I am. Hello.
Hey, Angela. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Excellent. Doing really well. So excited to have you on the show today because you're a kick-ass acupuncturist and energy worker. We want to hear all about it.
Oh, thank you. No, this morning I was just at work, and so I was diligently preparing for my time here with you this afternoon. So I'm really excited to be here today.
Well, we are so excited to have you. Huh?
Go ahead, Dee.
Well, we are so excited to have you on the show because I haven't experienced any of your methods, but I have traveled with you, and I know that your heart is as big as, oh my goodness, it's just so huge. And I know that when you're working with a client and when you're working with someone, you give it your whole heart and soul. So, how are you able to do that with, keep up your spiritual practice and be able to give so much?
Well, it's something that I do diligently work at now. I mean, through my years, the 2 years that I was in Dr. J's course, it really did help me to develop a pattern, a habit, if you will. And so now I find in my non-working time that I'm actually thinking very spiritually, that I'm connected. And when I'm at work, absolutely, it's very much to do with grounding. So just what Dr. J has taught me, that consistent grounding, letting God's love and healing flow through me. I'm just a conduit to help the patient who's there with me, and that knowing that they are seeing me for a specific purpose, that they have come to me through the work of spirit, really. They could have gone to see many other practitioners, but at that, there's a connection that the two of us are supposed to be there together working to create healing. So I'm definitely working on building my reserves and making sure that I'm taking as best care of myself as I can. Life is busy as we know it too, but I find the grounding really does help quite a bit. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, that is amazing, keeping yourself grounded, but you don't. How do you keep yourself grounded? Like, you don't just say, okay, I'm going to be grounded.
No. So it's part of the steps and the protocol akin to what Dr. J has been teaching, going through some necessary steps. And so grounding is the first and most important thing in allowing energy to move. Even if they're not in that place to receive acupuncture, There's the odd client who comes in and just wants physical therapy done, but even then there's an exchange of energy, correct? And
right.
so, so always. And so there's that conscious breath work, the breathing, to allow connection and to allow energy to flow through me, through my hands, if you will, to work on the structures, or through the needles, to allow energy to flow through the needles and to allow a connection to happen. And often, too, I find myself repeating a simple mantra during the treatment, something as simple as what Dr. J has repeated quite often through the course is, God's love flows to me and through me effortlessly. Mm-hmm. Something as simple as that, I find, just helps to ground me. Other things that help me is I fill my heart with love and I allow the healing to flow. You name it. Sometimes I talk to the body part that I'm working on as well.
Sure.
Well, that's amazing. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and just to see if there's anything that I need to know from the patient's body part. And
right.
That all amounts to a grounding process, I find, where, again, it feels very much like a connection to the time and place and to the patient and to their area of injury. Yeah.
Well, that's good because, I don't think people understand exactly, what the Chinese medicine or what the acupuncture. Can you go into a little bit of detail about how that energy works and how, you're finding those points and you're finding that, even the parts of the body that might need some work, and it may not even be the part of the body. My understanding is it could be an emotional thing, but is sitting in that part of the body. Like, can you go into a little bit of an explanation on that?
Sure. Exactly. There is acupuncture taught that is very anatomical, and so if you have an elbow pain, the acupuncture needles are often placed right into the elbows, but we know through Chinese medicine that exactly the area that is affected or the area that's producing pain is very often, not often, but always connected to the rest of the body. And absolutely, the meridians communicate with each other. There's a marriage of meridians. There are pairing of energy channels that happen. And so it being like a marriage, if one spouse is not feeling well, then the other partner kicks in to support them. So that, again, with the example of the elbow, for example, if there's a pain on the outside of the elbow, and it's along what we call the large intestine energy, well, we know that the large intestine energy flows into the lung energy. There's a communication there. And so you can use the lung energy, points on the lung energy, to help balance and support the large intestine meridian as well. And there are others. There are other energy channels that communicate with the large intestine meridian. So there are ones on the legs, for example, that can help balance and harmonize the large intestine at the elbow. And so the beauty of acupuncture, I find, is that it allows for a lot of creativity. There isn't a hardcore dictatorial type of practice. If you have elbow pain, you must use these points. It isn't like that at all. And very often it's the individual who comes in who will tell me, who will dictate to me. Their body will tell me, their system will tell me.
Right.
What points
and how does that happen? How does their system tell you?
Yeah.
I'm asking the tough questions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they're the ones that have to be asked.
They're very good questions. Yeah, absolutely. I have found that since I've taken Dr. J's course, it's just allowed an expansion of how I work with the information that the patient's body is telling me, that their system is telling me. So there's definitely an intuitive factor there. I'll check the chakras and feel my way through that. Very often the chakras will feel unbalanced or balanced, and so I get a good picture as to, I can hone in on the solar plexus chakra. Okay, I can hone in on that, and then I know through my Chinese medicine training that stomach energy, spleen energy, gallbladder energy, liver energy live in the solar plexus energy. Mm-hmm. And so, I can then go in and hone in on specific meridians. And then through the acupuncture training, we're taught to look at the tongue and feel the pulse as well as ways to get additional support and information from the system. And then, of course, through history taking, just simply speaking with the patient, the way their voice sounds, their mannerisms, and like you say, Dr. J, communication is largely nonverbal, and so there's lots of energy that is being shared as I'm there with the patient. And so through that, I'm able to then hone in and specify which points I think will be the best for that time. And that's not to say, that those points are used all the time in subsequent visits. Each and every treatment is different because things change, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and you have to make up your mind whether you're going to be sedating or stimulating various point sets in certain patterns, depending on what the outcome is. Like if a person is really sick but they don't have any energy, you might have to needle them first just to bring up energy so that you can then needle them to fix whatever the problem is. One of the questions most people have about acupuncture is actually a mechanical question. Right. How do you know, as an acupuncture, you got the needle, how do you know how deep to set the needle?
Yes, that for me personally has changed a lot over the years, in that when I was first taught acupuncture, I was taught in a very traditional Chinese medicine style.
Right. Stand you at the other side of the room with a set of darts. And there's a Chinese image on the wall, on the opposite wall, acupuncture points. And you have to throw these little darts so that they... Right. Oh, that's not it? Oh, it's not that?
No. Well, but that would explain why I watched darts championships so much on TSN. I would
Very
love
good.
it. And
very good.
My husband and I and his cousin Derek, we would often go to the pub and play darts.
Yeah.
And
why are you painting a target on Mr. Smith?
I got pretty good, but then I realized.
Oh, that's funny.
Well, no, but then I realized that it isn't so much my love of darts; it's actually the beer. I really like the beer.
For you, so beer, darts, a lot, Angela. This is your practice.
Full on.
Right.
Full on. Yeah, I love it. So,
that's right.
Back to your answer. How has that changed? Like, what was the traditional to how you practice now?
Right. So that the traditional way is to make the chi arrive to the point. And on a subjective level, when you're the recipient of acupuncture, it'll feel like an ache or a little bit of a jolt or tightening or something. And that's when you know that the energy has arrived to the point. But then it was through the work of Dr. Mikio Sankey, who practices out of California, and he practices a method of acupuncture called esoteric acupuncture, and he deals very much with the chakras. And so I discovered his work prior to taking Dr. J's course, and then, of course, with Dr. J's course, being all about chakras, it's like, this really resonates with me. And with Dr. Sankey's approach, his approach is that the physical body is also energy. It isn't separated from energy. It's just another layer of energy, if you will. And so his approach to acupuncture is very, very much to do with light needling. Like the needle is just tapped past the skin, and it isn't manipulated after that. or for those who don't enjoy needles at all, and I don't know many who do, but for those people who are afraid of needles, you don't even puncture the skin. You just lightly touch the point of the needle to the acupuncture point. And, of course, you're working with your intention to help move the energy, to help harmonize and balance the point. And that's more or less the way I practice now. I use very, very light needling, no stimulation of the needle. But I do get those questions regularly. What is happening when I put when the needle goes in? Where is the needle going in? Is it into nerves? That's a common question. How does this acupuncture business work? And absolutely, there's it doesn't follow nerve pathways specifically. It follows energy pathways, which is very different. The Western way of thinking is extremely different from Eastern medicine thinking.
Yes.
And yeah, it's just
Indeed.
to get your head out of that Western approach of, oh, we're treating organs, we're treating structure, etc. No, we're treating you. We're treating you because you're our energy. You're an energetic body, an energetic situation here. Yeah.
That is what I think most people don't understand, is the difference between the Western philosophy of, I have an ailment, I will go to the doctor and he will give me a pill to make the ailment better. Whereas the Eastern philosophy is, let's look at you as a whole picture. Let's look at everything that's going on and why. And then let's figure out what we need to do. So that's a really key point, I think, that listeners would, is that when Angela is working with her clients, and I don't mean to speak of you as third person, but you really pay attention to what's going on. You're looking, you're listening, you're feeling, you're intuiting, you're right?
Absolutely. And I hate to use that word holistic because it's been used so many times, but acupuncture and Eastern medicine is very much that. Very much because people are drawn to me because of my physiotherapy practice. They'll come in with a knee pain, for example, a localized area, but then it's this relation to what is present at the knee. There are energies that relate to your digestion that flow through the knee. There are energies related to your low back that flow through the knee. And so there's very much a marriage and, again, a tie-in of this body part to the rest of the person. Because, right, a knee cannot exist in isolation as far as I know. You can't just be a knee, right?
No. So you are actually, in one sense, looking at this at a metaphysical level. Yes, very much. And I think I did start that prior to taking Dr. J's course, but really Dr. J's course is what really solidified that for me. And I'm just going to toot your horn there a little bit, Dr. J. I mean, the course was... Toot, toot.
Haven't had my horn.
So you're on your own with the number threes.
Yeah.
Let's not go there.
I get that.
I have nothing to do with that.
Okay, all right. Back to tooting horns.
Full contact.
Oh, so funny. But Dr. J's course I found was really, really that kicker for me in helping to tie all the loose ends for me. Because I was practicing like this, sort of, but there wasn't a clarity to it. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So how did you develop your clarity?
I found it was really through my own personal spiritual practice. And really that being part of the homework when I was taking the course, it really helped to build up my spiritual strength, of which the work is. The work is spiritual, very much. Again, even if it's just physical therapy. It is very spiritual. And so I do. I feel like my practice has grown in the sense because I've grown. I've grown spiritually.
So what would your definition of?
I
feel like I can't be two different people, one kind of a person at work, one kind of a person in my personal life.
Yeah.
It's just sort of
but that's a question I have. I need to stop you right there because this is so central to Light News Radio and what we're all about. Okay, so you just said I grew spiritually. Okay, so you got a fellow acupuncturist, someone who's classically trained acupuncturist, good at what they do, but no spiritual training. And you say to them, you know what, I have grown so much spiritually. And they say, why, Angela Kim, can you tell me what that is?
Yeah. What is that? What is spirituality to you?
What would you say? Especially, you touted my 2-year healer's training course. Okay. And you grew. And they say, okay, Angela, well, what do you mean you grew spiritually? What is that? What would you say?
Yeah. Well, to me, I grew to know my whole self is the simplest way I can put it. I grew to know my whole self and to embrace my whole self. And so I did. In my earlier life, and definitely my earlier practice, it did. I'll admit that, when I would go to work, I placed such great pressure on myself to be that healer, to know everything that the patient was asking me, to really be able to produce the results out of my own will. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I do.
And at this point, it feels like, there's so much more to it than me. There's all-encompassing spirit of which the patient is one, I am one, etc. And coming to know my whole being and embracing my whole being, I understand now that what makes me an effective person, really, is knowing my part in the equation, that I can't produce out of my will what I want to have happen. Everyone be pain-free, everyone be healed. This being a personal journey for each and every one of us, right?
Yes.
And so when I've grown spiritually, when I talk about that, when I talk about what my experience was has been in spiritual growth, it's just that thing of a clearer knowing, I think.
Because people are going to ask that question. People who have never tasted an orange are going to say, what's it taste like? And part of the answer is, well, you got to taste it for yourself. And then they say, fine, how do I do that?
Yeah.
And there's so much vague understanding of what spirituality is in the world that if you have the experience of having tasted the orange, you're eager and enthusiastic, but the other person still doesn't know. And this is where we have to juxtapose, if you will, the eagerness to awaken rapidly and cover the mountaintop with, on the other hand, how long it takes for the time to integrate to a true level of comprehension and understanding of what spirituality really is. And people like yourself who are continuously educating yourself, acupuncture, energy work, hypnotherapy, but you're still polishing different facets of your gem to represent that whole human being. But the spiritual understanding is the light that shines through every single avenue of healing you pursue, because it increases the level of awareness in all of those different healing modalities.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
absolutely.
Angela.
It's the thing that ties everything together, right?
Yeah. You said it yourself earlier, yes.
Yeah. So we need you to shamelessly self-promote yourself. I warned you about this in the pre-show discussion. How you obviously you still offer, and you are offering general practice, and how would people get a hold of you?
Well, currently I'm at Kensington Physiotherapy, wonderful practice in the neighborhood of Kensington, just north of the Bow River in Calgary, Alberta here. And it's a wonderful clinic because Gord Dewar, who owns the clinic, he's also a physiotherapist like myself. He's also a registered acupuncturist. Fantastic, talented man. His wife is actually practicing now to become an acupuncturist as well. So there's lots of needles flying in this clinic. Lots of needles.
Where's the dartboard? Sorry.
I know. You gotta watch yourself in that clinic, you know. And lots of energy work being done. Lots of work of spirit. It's such a blessed place. And the number to the clinic is 403-270-0053. And I do have my own work email as well, if anyone wants to inquire by email, and that's angkim44@gmail.com. So angkim44@gmail.com. But if you call the clinic, the front desk staff are happy to help you, and they can also give me a message as well that you've called, and I can gladly give you a call back.
Okay.
What about esoteric
Well,
acupuncture?
that's what I was just going to say.
I live in
online?
I live in Sacramento.
Yeah.
And I hear how good you are. I heard your voice, and I feel strength, and I want to contact you for a session. What would I do? Would you be able to help me if I don't live in Calgary?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
absolutely.
How do they
Absolutely. The wonderful bit about traditional Chinese medicine, too, is that there's absolutely the ability to affect the system through acupressure as well. And again, intention is really, really important. Placing your intention correctly when you're working on a point to, clear a specific area, to harmonize the stomach, to ease the stress, etc. That can be done and can be taught on a distance basis. Absolutely.
Well, but that's what our listeners need to know. So you understand, Angela, that we're making a recording of this. Of course, it's yours to use as you wish, but so it is on Bold Radio Station, on the Light News website, on other sources. You know, at some point in the future, people are going to download this program and say, wow, there's another resource. I can get a hold of Angela and I can get this work done.
Yeah.
Right, absolutely.
So,
There's very much some effective Qigong exercises as well that incorporate breathing, some Tai Chi exercises too. So that's all part of the big picture there too, right?
That is. So if we were to ask you to give listeners a tool for their tool belt on helping them to achieve, self-empowerment and, personal growth, what would you say to them?
There's a couple of things that come to mind right away, and that's that diligent daily practice I feel is really, really important. So something that really helped me over the last year or so was that book, The Book of Awakening by Mark Nepo, N-E-P-O is his last name. And so it's like a daily devotional. Every day there would be a passage, a reading, and then some recommendations for meditation. So I followed that fairly diligently for about a year and a half, and I found that really helped me. And now I'm on to doing oracle cards, just every day, pulling a card. Yeah, pulling a card and doing a little meditation related to that. Even on those days when I pull a card and go, that's not the card I wanted.
I get that off.
Well, there's other cards in the deck,
I get 54. I get 52
You
cards.
keep picking cards until you get the one that, that's me.
That's right. Exactly. It's like when you play poker and you wanted that ace of spades, not quite
That's
that. But
right. You pull it out of your sock.
Wait, I have another one here.
So a daily practice. And then the other thing I find is helpful is when you're doing any kind of physical stretching or exercise, it is to breathe. Breathe and ground through your chakras. You're doing a doorway stretch to open your chest and stretch the pectoral muscles. Breathe. right from your crown all the way out through your feet, just as a way to help ground yourself. And I find that very, very helpful as well. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Those are
Angela,
wonderful.
it is,
Exercise, some daily rigor.
it has been such a joy to have you on our show today. And
Thank
again,
you.
if people want to reach you, how can they do that?
Again, the best way to reach me is at Kensington Physiotherapy. Their number is 403-270-0053, or through email, and the email address is angkim44@gmail.com, angkim44@gmail.com. Thank you
Excellent.
for having me on the show.
Oh, always so
Hugs
nice
to
to
you.
talk to you. And I'm sorry, guys, but I think she's taken. She's a leather-clad motorcycle mama who throws acupuncture needles from a distance with great accuracy, kind of a ninja thing. So, it's just a delight to have Angela on our program because, I have to remind you, listeners, Deirdre and I are really only listening or interested in people who we believe walk their talk, or what we like to call the real thing. And Angela, you certainly are that.
Oh,
Yeah.
bless you. Thank you so much. Thank you. And again, one last toot to your horn, Dr. J. The course for me was life-altering. I enjoyed it thoroughly, and I miss getting together with my class every 3 months. I just miss it. But, I love
Show
you to
up
death.
on Monday
Thank you.
nights for practice, and we'll put you
Absolutely.
to work. We'll put you to work. All right. Well, thank you,
Angela. Bless you.
Thank you kindly. Thank you.
Okay. Wow. What a great person to have on our show today. Just
great
full of
interview.
energy, full of love, full of, excitement and vigor and
I
all
hope
that
our
wonderful
listeners
other
really
stuff.
tune into that and really listen to it and, get the authenticity of this wonderful woman, Angela Kim.
I think, I really hope so too. So, even though when we first started and came onto the show to begin with, we talked about, how you're jumping around all over the place and traveling. And I just wanted to say that you've got lots of events coming up. And, listeners, please check the website regularly. It's being updated all the time, and you can find where you want to be through different cities or different countries and find out where Dr. J is that way. So www.lightnews.org is, and the calendar of events is right there on the front page. So all you do is scroll down. But it's amazing on the interaction that we're starting to get from our new website. And, we have this little pop-up that comes up and people can book a session with you, or they can send a question or ask me, what programs and stuff are coming on, and it's really handy. So quite interactive. And of course we have our Facebook page for Bold Radio and for Light News Radio and for Light News. So you can check us out there. So in Calgary, you have free energy balancing with students and graduates on the 22nd of February. Mm-hmm. And then on the weekend after that, the Olds Fair is happening, and one of your graduates, Greg McIntyre, will be there offering free energy balancing and little mini energy healing sessions. So if you're in the Red Deer, Alberta, Olds area, please go check him out and see what's going on. But this coming week, February 13th to 20th, you are busy fellow. You'll be in San Diego, and you've got on the 13th, the advanced training for graduates on how to intuitively read flowers.
A course just for graduates, and I'm really excited to teach it. And we've got people who are taking it long distance, coming in by computer to take the course also. So keep your eyes open and your ears attuned, because we're going to keep doing more of this. And of course, hopefully you guys will all get interested in the Healers Training course. I think it has a lot to offer. And, Deirdre and I are always progressive and ready to do more work and spread the word.
That's right. On the 16th, you are at the Tibetan Healing Center. Actually, you're there the 16th, 17th, and 18th of February. On the 16th, you'll be doing intuitive flower readings. On the 17th is a question answer night. So any of those questions that maybe you didn't want to ask live or share on air, go show up and see Dr. Jelicic in person and get those questions answered. Yeah. And then you're doing a relationship workshop on the 18th of February in San Diego at the Tibetan Healing Center. Did you want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, relationships, we talk a lot about what I do as my background with the chakras, but we're talking about relationships as they are, how we relate to each other sexually, how do we relate to each other intuitively, energetically, romantically, lovingly. So it's going to be an open night where I'm going to do a little bit of lecturing, and you guys are going to have questions, and a great night of interaction based on our spiritual nature, but how does that spiritual nature interpret itself or turn itself into our thought processes? How we maybe somebody winks at us that we're interested in, and how do we interpret that? Or when we say something which isn't exactly what we mean, how does the other person feel that? So we're going to let the night be a little bit organic in the direction that it needs to go, because there's so many aspects of relationships, but it's an open night. And like I said, from sex to philosophy to romanticism to sociology, we will get into it, and I'm looking forward to a great evening.
Well, that's
18th of February, San Diego Tibetan Healing Center.
That's right. And then on the 20th, you are going to host an all-day of meditation, the Darshan meditation. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, darshan typically means to sit at the foot of the master. It has nothing to do with me personally. It's just a way of saying it's a way to make interconnection. So the day will be punctuated with slides, lecture, and meditations. The longest meditation, about 40 minutes or so, which is guided imagery. So it's a day where you come in comfortable clothing. You can sit on mats, pillows. You can sit in chairs, lay down if you like. But it's a full day of rest and connection for the soul.
I wish I could be there. I know that you did this class in Calgary a year or two back, and we had 23 people come, and it was amazing. It's something that we'll look at doing here again. In March, you're going to be again in Calgary on the 7th, and we'll be doing a intuitive flower reading workshop at Family Matters that evening. The 12th and 13th, you're teaching levels 12 and 13 for group 15. And so between
I know, right?
I know. So between 2 and 5 p.m., both Saturday and Sunday, if anyone is in the Calgary, Alberta area and wants to come and have some free energy work done, do show up at Family Matters in the Northeast in the Trans-Canada Mall.
Yeah,
and then on the 14th of March, you'll be doing a past life karma and reincarnation workshop also at Families Matter in the Northeast. Then back to San Diego, and on the 29th at the Tibetan Healing Center, you'll do a Q&A night. On the 30th, an intuitive flower reading, and on the 31st, past life and karma again. So listeners, please do keep yourselves up to date with what's going on and where Dr. J is by visiting our calendar on the Light News website at www.lightnews.org. Sad to say that we've canceled 2 of your classes, Richard. We've canceled the Chicago intro class and the Edmonton intro class. It just at this time, with travel costs and things like that, we just didn't get enough registration. But
this is what happens. Before you continue, I just want to say something because I got a minute here. We had a trip scheduled to the Yucatan last year in October.
Yes.
And we had absolutely no interest. So it's not personal. We don't take any offense whether people sign up or don't sign up. But the thing is in spirituality, you look at where the energy is. You look for the open energy. And if it's not in a journey that you're planning, then let go of your investment in the planning for the journey because it's not supposed to happen. So the same thing with our journey to Chicago, the end of this month, and then the Edmonton. If the energy wasn't there, it must mean some other open energy is available. Deirdre and I never take offense. We just reconstitute and refocus our energies, and we go in the direction where we feel is most needed.
And so to add to that, if anyone wants to host Dr. Jelacic for a workshop or event, please get a hold of me at info@lightnews.org or 877-242-5721 is the phone number. You will be doing an advanced mediumship class also in San Diego on the 30th of April. So Dr. Jelacic does classes all over the place, and he can certainly accommodate business, a school, massage therapy clinic, anything that you might be interested in. I know that you've done some workshops in yoga studios in the past. So this is things that our listeners might be thinking about when they phone and ask me what events are available. So, wow, we have almost completed a whole hour again of broadcasting. And I just, our next show is going to be on the 24th of February, and we will have Michelle Stevens, a mentoring woman in business strategizing coach. So she's a mother of 10, which is just phenomenal. And she is going to be on our show as a guest on the 24th. And you can check out her website ahead of time at www.atrustedmentor.com. And if you have any questions that you might want to ask Michelle, please send them to us, and we will be sure to get them on air and talk with her about those questions. I'm looking forward to having Michelle on. And then on the 9th of March, we have Teresa Helgeson. Plant music therapy. So that will be another really great show, listeners, for you to turn into. And one last thing to let you know is that the format has changed. If you go to Bold Radio Station, you will see that our shows are now being done a little bit differently on air, but you can still download or listen live, of course, through the station, and it's amazing. We're looking forward to the changes and the growth here at Bold Radio.
Excellent. Well, Dee, these things do go so quickly, especially when you have someone like Angela Kim. It just, she knows so much and she's so engaged, and you can just feel that heart just coming through so clearly. And we at Light News Radio work very diligently to look through the healers that are out there, and the ones that we feel that we want to present to you, dear listeners, are the ones that we feel are walking their talk. Authenticity is one of the keys to living a really great life. Whether you choose a spiritual path or not is not as important as you're authentic and honest with yourself. And part of that honesty means revealing the truth of who you really are and not holding it under wraps, because we're all here to externalize the beautiful gifts that every one of us was born with. They all came here to do. So, one parting thought, go back to when you were born. Go back to the moment you were born and tune into, what did I come here to do? What am I here to do? And just think on that a little bit. What beautiful way can the bud or the tulip or the flower come to its fullness, flourishing and flowering as you were meant to do? Dear listeners, we love you very much, and because of that, we work very hard to bring you a quality program. And we hope today that indeed we have done that for you. And so please do give us your feedback, your questions, your comments, so that we can always make Light News Radio, realms of self-empowerment, always, always better for you. So thank you, dear listeners, for listening to Light News Radio. I'm your host, Dr. J, and my amazing co-host is Deirdre. Check out the Light News website, calendar events at lightnews.org. And as always, may the principles of harmlessness and compassion be the ever-constant, ever-gentle guide of your every intention, your every thought, and your every action. And so it is, so it shall be, it is done. Stay attuned, everyone.
Thank you for joining Dr. J and Deirdre on Light News Radio. Please join us again in 2 weeks, same time, for more exciting tools and techniques for self-empowerment.